On my next video, I'm going to mention about I've gotten a couple of messages from individuals who say that after they've watched some of my videos, they'll start to see things. They'll start to feel haunted. They'll start to get nightmares. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Tassie, and this is my Shaman Memoirs channel. First off, Happy New Year to everybody, and thank you so much, you guys. I've read all of your guys' comments and messages to me for my last video of me coming back to YouTube. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I will do my best to upload regularly for you guys. It was really funny because my own family, they were so ecstatic that I was filming for this channel, and I'm literally like, you see me all the time. But it's to them, they always tell me that it's a little bit different when they see me versus when I'm producing my videos just for like shaman and ghostly type of situations, because when we are together, they don't think of these things. They don't think of the questions to ask me. Like, you know, like a lot of you guys ask such great questions and topics that you want me to cover. But when I'm like in person with my own family and we're just like hanging out, or we do a lot of video chats now, they never think to ask me. Obviously, if they have like bad dreams or bad feelings, you know, we talk about it. When they're making like big life decisions and stuff like that, we talk about things. But, you know, like, you know, I don't know. It maybe, I don't know, because I mean, I'm trying to think like if I was around a shaman and I really wanted to know a bunch of stuff, kind of like general things, I guess I wouldn't know what to ask them either. So, but they are so hilarious, and definitely they are such huge supporters of me and my channel. So I absolutely am very, very blessed and thankful. But I found it really funny that my family, they were so excited to see my episode. All right, so on this episode, we're going to talk about something I actually posted onto social media. Okay, it's going to be two things I posted onto social media. However, the first one, it's going to be a topic that a lot of people were genuinely curious about. So there is this, it's not really, I can't even say it's like a ceremony, or a ritual. There is this thing that you can do, okay, where you tie your relationship together to a rock. And so a lot of people had questions about that, because I had written to this individual who had asked me, because it was basically recommended that they do that to her relationship. And essentially I kind of gave her, I don't know if I would do that if I were you, kind of a response. So, you know, for me, obviously, I don't try to push and change people's, basically, I don't want to influence your guys' decisions too much, you know, like, so obviously I'm going to always let you have your own free will, your own free choice on whatever you want to do. But I'm more of the, so I always tell this to people at work, and they kind of think I'm joking, but I always tell them I specialize in risk management. Okay. You have to understand the risks you're about to take. So that's what we're going to discuss in this video. All right, so what exactly does that mean when a shaman recommends you tie your relationship, whether it's to a rock, to a tree? There are situations of, I know people who were tied to a tree. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into really what does that mean, what does it entail, and why would a shaman or somebody who knows how to do this type of magic even recommend it? And honestly, you know, maybe I'm biased, you know, like, because I'm not like an OG. All right, so basically what it means is when you're in a relationship, and you might think, you know, you choose relationships based off of looks and family, things that are more, you know, kind of aesthetics, right? It's on the outside. Now, what happens though is that when people aren't as compatible spiritually, that is when people would recommend tying an individual together to kind of save the relationship. And that's kind of what I meant when I went to that, when I said that I'm not really like an OG, because for people in the Hmong community, our elders will go to great lengths to keep people in a relationship rather than facing divorce, especially if there are children involved, and saving face. And if the family comes from a well-known family, you know, they don't want a divorce in their family. So what they will go to is consider the spiritual aspect. Even if they go to church, they will consider the spiritual aspect on how are we going to save this couple's relationship. Now, what it really means is that you will have two individuals, and it doesn't matter if you're two boys, two girls, or a boy and a girl, okay? You have to consider everybody's fate, all right? So what I mean by that is some people in their life, they will be fated to have really good luck, or they will have really far sight, and as far as like executing and creating an elaborate plan on how to be successful, right? And you can execute it. There are certain people who are truly gifted to have those kind of abilities. All right. There are some people who can talk about it, but they can't really figure out the kinks without somebody literally reaching out and helping and pulling them to get there. You know, think about like any business, like pretend you really want to become a realtor. You don't know anybody who's a realtor. You don't know how any of it works, right? Most people assume you just go and get the education, get your realtor license, and then you can start selling houses. Okay. It's really all of the nuances in between that, all of how it works. You need to do networking like crazy. I'm not a realtor. I just said this because my sister is a realtor. And that was the only thing I could think. We were just messaging each other, so that was the only thing I could think of. Okay, back to the topic. You know, like, you don't know all of the little stuff that's required, like brokers and how you need to know other realtors, okay? So it's pretty intense, but you need to have that kind of luck, all right? So even if, you know, like, you may not have that kind of personality, but you can always learn that personality, but still you may not have that extra spiritual, like, bam, pizzazz, you know, like that could really help you in general. So, you know, the same thing is like, you know, luck in children, luck in anything in life in general. Some people will have more ambition or desire or drive, you know, versus the partner. Okay, so all of this is, again, compared to your partner. So even if you yourself consider your partner or future potential partners, you know, like, people like to talk. Obviously, you all know this. But, you know, like, when you meet people, when you're starting to date, you really assess and try to gauge one another from, you know, spending a lot of time together, talking to each other, going through situations together to try and get a whole picture of, you know, is this person really compatible to yourself? And so in an older video I had done about like dating and stuff like that, this is kind of what I meant when I talked about a lot of the guys who I met when I was dating and I was single. A lot of them all thought like I am the one for them. Okay. But I already can see all of that. And I was like, no, this just ain't gonna work out. And this is after like a month of just talking to each other, or 2 weeks of talking to each other. I'm like, you know, I can already see, and this is not gonna work out. So a lot of people just thought I was really picky, you know, like I had this super long list and nobody could compare. And it's just, no, it's, for me, the spiritual side plays a huge role, obviously. Okay. But the thing is, a lot of people don't consider it that much because, you know what? You can't see it. You can't touch it. So it doesn't seem as tangible, as real, as basically concrete, right? But it's a real thing, and it can really mess up relationships. You know, you might think it's just money and credit and family, you know, but it's a lot that goes into it with your spiritual connection, and that's how you can have a really, really good relationship. And I could have had a perfect relationship, and definitely that's in quotations, because that is, I could have had a relationship that was perfect to the majority of the human population. That is what they would consider a perfect relationship. However, if you don't have that spiritual connection where everything else on paper looks perfect, you know, so it's basically like your home life, it's not going to be as perfect. So, you know, with that, you know, I just kept moving because I'm like, it's not my perfect. It is someone else's perfect, but it's just not mine. So basically, knowing a little bit of background about what it kind of really is aimed for, essentially, if somebody was too ambitious, too lucky in life, that just sounds ridiculous, right? However, when you have a partner who's always has the worst luck in the world, who makes the craziest, dumbest decisions, like, you know, in Hmong, there's a term that we would use. It's kind of like, shai chi tao, you know, like, you know, like, you just can't, you don't respect them. So that is when a lot of elders, typically it is elders involved, where they will like try to go to a shaman to save their son or daughter's relationships. So essentially they will go to a shaman to try to save the relationship because they are afraid of losing that individual. So then they would recommend tying each other, whether it's to a tree, anything you want, they could tie you together. Does it work? Yes, it does. Now, knowing that it works, there's a lot of connotations that come with this. You guys, I don't know how many times I've told you guys in videos, everything that you do, there is a give and a take, okay? Everything is a negotiation. Do you not wonder why do we hooplee and there's an egg and there's rice, there's a chicken, there's incense sticks, sometimes there's even joss money burned? You think we're just gonna get spirits galore? Like, there is a give and a take. To get that spirit, I'm giving you this chicken. Okay, like, literally everything has a give and take in any kind of magic that you do. So you need to consider, what are the risks in this type of ritual? First, I want to say, it is not a guarantee you're going to stay together. It is not a guarantee. All right, some people might see it that it's a guarantee you're going to stay together and your partner's not going to leave you. Some people will even do the tying of the rock of relationships to stabilize it, and they end up breaking up. So we're going to dive a little bit into that. Let's say you broke up and you did tie yourselves to each other. You created a curse. I'm sorry to let you know. Hopefully you're not finding out for the first time through me. But you are creating a curse. I mean, you literally tied yourself to another person. Like, did you not consider how many lifetimes will you be tied together? Are you trying to tie yourselves forever? Like, you know, there's a lot that you should consider. I mean, just hearing that alone should kind of scare people. But, you know, some people will go to the lengths and still do it. So, the curse in general, you can have it undone. I will tell you that. You can have it undone. However, if you don't, or, you know, you forget, I don't know, basically, you will have to find one another in the next lifetime. All right, so some of y'all might not know this. Typically, the people that you meet in this lifetime, you were destined to. However, some of these people you knew already previously in your previous lifetime. I know some people don't believe in lifetimes, okay, but I do, right? So I'm just letting you know this. So, you know, some people who, even though they are your perfect match, okay, they're not perfect for you, y'all can still break up, but you are destined to always meet and always get married, but you will always break up, okay? So there's that. Some people will actually do certain magical rituals to ensure it is cut off in this lifetime. You will never meet again in another lifetime. So, you know, everything you can undo, but again, even that has a give and a take. Things in your life will alter based off of what you did, you know, so it's not a clean cut, you know. Another thing to consider, in case you care, it's a bad deal for the person who had a higher everything. Okay, like, even if everything wasn't higher, they had other things that were higher than the person you're tying them to. Because this is literally what happens, okay? Like, say somebody was up here and you were down here and you tied yourselves. This is what happens, okay? You don't shoot up, okay? You don't shoot up and you're at the same level, okay? This person will go down to equal you out. Let that sink in. Now, let's say, I'm not really sure, Tassie, can you just give me an example? So, imagine the partner you're with. They could have achieved greater things for the both of you. However, now, neither of you together can actually achieve it. Making more sense? Now, I can see why the OGs would be desperate enough to do this, you know. In Hmong, we have another term. It means 我现得. Basically, it just means 无什么. You know, like, just put up with it, girl or guy. Just put up with it, man. Like, things will get better in time, you know. Like, they're going crazy right now. It's okay. It'll get better in time when they get older. So, you know, I can see the draw because people think, okay, somebody is too ambitious. They're going to basically overcome this relationship too fast. They're going to want to get out. They're going to want somebody who is just as ambitious as them. So essentially, they think that by leveling you out, it will be peaceful. All right. The problem with that, again, it's not a guarantee. Okay. Because what if the other individual was already set on actually leaving you and then you tied one another together? You know, like, they already have that seed that they are going to leave you. Even if they lose their luck, even if they lose whatever it was that they ended up giving up, you know, so it's still, people have free will. You can't magically force somebody to fall in love. Okay. I take that back. That's a different crazy topic. That's actually a scary topic. Moving on. So why do people do this? Love. You know, when you are so crazy, you cannot imagine your life without them. It will tear your family apart. People will do it out of love. Everything is worth the risk. Everything. As long as you are together. But, you know, even after you've leveled one another out, you know, you cut off some fate for the other person or you, what's going to happen is, depending on the deal, you can lose other things. All right. So if you want a guarantee to stay together for the next 10 years or until your life is over in this lifetime, you think tying yourself to a rock is enough for that deal? No, that is not enough. They're going to come and take more. Okay. Like, they can take your children. They can take your children's luck. They can take money from you. Literally, you will be broke the rest of your life, but you will have the person you really, really wanted to be with. And there are people who do get sick, you know, after this is done. You know, you may end up having cancer. You may end up getting into a tragic accident. These are all things that can truly happen in any deal you make. But again, people don't really make deals unless they were desperate. I mean, in the end, you really just got to ask yourself, what are you really willing to pay for? And you have to be careful, okay? Like, I just had this idea, okay? Because my claw told me I need to warn you. So, you know how people pray, right? You need to be careful, because what if somebody's listening? You know, when people are really desperate, okay, let's say this. Let's say you really, really wanted a baby, and you went to a shaman, and the shaman said, okay, the baby's coming. When the baby's born, you need to kill a cow for the baby, right? And then you start talking to yourself internally. Nobody else is hearing it. But you start making promises like, oh God, you know, like, if I could just have this baby, I would change my ways. I give up smoking, give up drinking, or I will do something else because you're so desperate. And you're talking to yourself, okay? You're praying to yourself. Even if you say things out loud, it's probably worse if you say it out loud. They will hold you to it. That's why. I don't know how else I can protect you guys. If you really don't do those things, what do you think happens when you break your end of the deal? It ain't gonna be good, okay? So you need to be very, very conscious and considerate that if a shaman told you this and this, don't add on top of it, okay? Because you don't know what could be listening and what you will be held accountable for. I'm just saying. Now, I have never and would never recommend tying yourself to anything, all right? So I actually know somebody who was tied to a tree when they were younger. Okay, and the reason for it. This individual was very, very depressed and very, very sad and always crying, always getting sick as a child. So the parents went to a shaman, and the shaman said, tie him to a tree. And that tree will be its partner so that it's no longer sad. It's no longer sick. Well, it worked. It sure worked. Well, the shaman did not specify what were the connotations. So this individual had actually asked me, and I said, yeah, you're tied to a tree. When they had asked me, like, what do you see, etc. I remember this happened when I was younger, or I remember my parents mentioning it, and I was like, yeah, nope, you're tied to a tree, honey. And they were kind of wondering, like thinking about like connotations and, what could it really mean? And I basically told him, your deal was that you are tied to a tree, and they love nature. They love being around trees. They love it. Absolutely. They could be there forever if they wanted to. But I told him, babe? Oh yeah, God, you scared. So basically the connotation to having that individual tied to a tree was that they will never have an actual real long-term relationship with another male figure in their life. And this person was a guy. They will always search and always long to have a brother figure, or somebody who they could really rely on as a guy. And that individual looked at me and was like, holy shit. Because I told him, you will feel it, that you always will want this kind of relationship, a good relationship with another guy. But no matter what happens, even if you get close, your relationship will always end. And you may still know one another from passing, but it will never be what it was. And this individual realized, yeah, any relationship they've ever been in with a guy, and this is definitely not like a sexual type of attraction relationship. This is just like a bromance, okay? And they were never able to fully have that best friend who was a guy. They never had that cousin type or brother type relationship with any guy. And I told him the reason is because you have the tree. Why would you need another person when you have the tree? So briefly before I go, my next topic is going to be about something I posted on social media for New Year's Eve. So I posted this photo. Somebody had like a bowl of rice or grains of rice, and they had eggs in there. They had like an orange in the middle, and they had like money kind of decorated around it, right? And I had mentioned that my spirit guides, they try to grab it like right away as soon as they saw it. And I was like, no, this is not happening. So I'm literally having to be strict with them and telling them no, because I've mentioned in other videos, my guides love when somebody's hoopling or there's a ceremony. They freaking love to eat the boiled egg. Okay, like I will sit there and eat 6 eggs to myself if I could. But what they will do, because even if I hooply for other people and they didn't make extra eggs, No matter where I am in the house, my eyes will go to the egg. It'll go to the egg. Wherever the egg is, it will go to the egg. Because they just want to eat the egg. So somebody had asked me, like, how do I know that my spirit guides try to grab for it, right? I don't know if this person hasn't seen my other videos, but because I can see them, okay? So literally, I'm actually just scrolling through Facebook, and I didn't actually even see the photo. What I saw first were hands that came out in front of my eyes. And it looked like the perspective was, you know, literally, it would look like somebody was kind of like just right next to my shoulders here. And they reached out and tried to grab it. And then I flinched and I moved my phone away because I'm like, what the heck is that? Like, and then I saw and I focused and I saw it was somebody's photo with eggs in there. And it was like some kind of New Year kind of a thing. So that's what they were going for. All right. So you guys may or may not know this. If you're a shaman, you're going to know it more. But, you know, shamans kind of raise their guides differently from everybody. Because like one of my best friends who's a shaman, she's very strict on her spirit guides. Like, holy hell. She is so caw. You know, like just super strict. And she keeps them in check all the time, okay? My guides are a lot like me, because obviously they are me and I am them. They love to follow people, see what they're up to. Like, they love touching things. They love just doing things that, you know, a lot of shamans probably wouldn't let their guides do. But, you know, like, we're curious. We're obviously, okay, except for food, we're obviously not there to hurt anything or anybody, but we love to go and look at people. Okay, so anyways, the whole point of them making sure, I always make sure they actually don't touch it or don't do it, because it's the same thing as this person was actually doing it for luck for the new year. So if my guides, when they grabbed it, it'd be like me taking their luck, okay, because they want that egg and they will do whatever it takes to get that egg. You know, usually I don't have to yell at them a whole lot because I can already tell what they're trying to do. So I'll be like, no, you know, like, but when that was like the first time in a long time, the last time they actually suddenly did something without me being aware they were about to do it was the dragon at Como when they went to go pick it up. I mean, my guides, they love food. Okay, like, y'all might get it. Okay, I have another mukbang channel. However, I will say that my guides, they absolutely love ceremony food. Because I remember I did a ceremony once, and you know how I was going to go into Hmong there, sorry. You know how when they do the chicken, and they bring the chicken, like after you do like the calling of the spirit and all that stuff, you cut it up and you prep it for actual eating at the table. So I literally could have ate that whole chicken. The whole chicken to myself. I just kept saying, everybody, you know, like at ceremonies, in case you don't know, when it's time to eat, everybody sits there and we chit chat forever. And we talk about the ceremony and what actually happened. And then people are just hanging out, catching up, right? And relaxing. I was the last person to leave the table. Everybody was already clearing up the table. And I'm still sitting there with my chicken like, like, don't take the chicken yet. Because my guides were so craving that chicken, I ate almost the whole chicken, you guys. I had to tell myself to stop. Like, I knew I was full. Even though I could have kept eating, I said no. Like, I had to pull away. So a funny thing about the whole bowl with the eggs and the orange that I was talking about that my guides were trying to grab, it was actually a Korean person who actually posted that photo. You know, it was for their cultural beliefs and what they do. But like I told you guys, it doesn't matter what culture or belief it is. Magic is magic. All right, you guys, until next time. Oh, on my next video, I'm going to mention about, I've gotten a couple of messages from individuals who say that after they've watched some of my videos, they'll start to see things. They'll start to feel haunted. They'll start to get nightmares. So in my next video, we'll go ahead and talk about that.